Hello everyone, Roger Hill of Wuthering Heights Consulting. It's Sunday morning on the 15th of September, and we've just had a continuation of phenomenal weather. It's been due to these kind of really remarkable areas of higher pressure that just have been landing across the northeast United States. Sometimes a little bit north, sometimes right overhead, sometimes a little bit to the east or south of our region. But needless to say, it's been providing really a lot of sunny days, a lot of foggy nights, and very little precipitation. We are seeing a very increasingly strong dry spell here, and the actual I wouldn't call it drought, but conditions are drying out pretty good. The grass is starting to get a little bit brown, and the overall conditions are such that we haven't seen a lot of even just little spritzy rainfall, and certainly nothing that's been very heavy. And this goes back even for the most part going back to even into early September. But right now we have an area of higher pressure, as you can see. It's providing foggy mornings. This has been the case here. That's what these symbols are here. We have a lot of fog underneath this surface area of higher pressure, and then also an area of higher pressure aloft. All the main weather action's really been in the southeast United States, a little bit on the west coast, a little bit on the northwest coast, and across parts of Canada. And it looks like our weather pattern is going to continue that way without any kind of let-up for the foreseeable future. Let's take a look at some of the modeling with that. Using WeatherLink with my Davis weather instruments set up here, I have, of course, solar radiation, and what you can see is the daily decent amounts of sunshine. That's what's been really phenomenal, and it's kind of a situation I've seen kind of where our Septembers have been just incredible. In fact, some of the best weather in the state of Vermont has been during the month of September. A little bit of that going back into mid-August, but prior to that, of course, a lot of severe weather, a lot of association with higher precipitable water, creating flooding and very heavy rainfall. That seems to be more basically somewhere around mid to late June into the month of July, of course. And by the time we get into, say, mid-August, unless we're getting hurricanes that are tracking up the coast or some sort of extratropical lows or precipitation patterns that are basically stuck overhead, that has not been the case. We're seeing days with a lot of sunshine, and that's what that solar radiation is here. Also, winds relatively light, nothing real major. Wind speeds have been well down there as well, so I haven't seen a lot of wind. So there are a lot of trees out there that are getting a little bit weaker. They just haven't fallen over because there has not been a lot of wind. We haven't seen a tremendous amount of rainfall most recently. And certainly the tail end of the summer, as we kind of dovetail in through the month of September, going into the early part of October, we're going to see a weather pattern that's eventually going to get more active, but it's not here yet. And also the tropics remain extremely inactive, and that is kind of going, of course, making a big failure in terms of the forecast projections for a very strong Atlantic hurricane season. Just not happening. A lot of it has to do with maybe the position of the jet stream and just some oddities all kind of coming together. But the northeast United States having phenomenal weather, and it only continues. And you can see here a couple different things. This red line here, that's our high temperatures. So the coldest days, yeah, we had some cold weather. That was back on, let's see, that was back on the 8th of September. And temperatures barely got up, it looks like not really getting much higher than, say, the low 50s. But since then, we warmed things up. You can also see the barometric pressure, high pressure, low pressure, high pressure, and so on. Not a super active weather pattern overall, just one little glitch here back toward the 8th, 9th. So being halfway through the month of September on the 15th this Sunday morning, this is our area of higher pressure as I just showed you on the analysis. And so what do we have going on here? Well, basically, the high pressure areas is going to kind of hang out and reinforce. And we do have a lot of unsettled weather to the south of our region. A little bit more active weather that's moving into the Great Basin along the west coast. But overall, the east of the Mississippi, unless you're in the southeast United States, pretty decent weather, especially across the northeast United States and what we can see here. By the way, this is the European ensemble. This over here is the European AI version, which is a little bit better as you go back out in time. And what you can see here is this kind of reinforcing ridging of higher pressure off the coast. Now we're into Wednesday, the middle part of this coming week. And The little bit of a low pressure area finally here does develop. There is a kind of a weak weather system that's going to kind of rotate north, but pretty quickly ridge of higher pressure builds back into the region. All of that taking place on Friday afternoon and then into the following weekend. And overall, the weather pattern is really quite nice. We have this area of higher pressure to the north and east. That's going to push in kind of a northeasterly wind, good air quality more than likely, and so on and so forth. And that ridge of higher pressure is going to get kind of reinforced until this trough moves on in. Now we're looking basically out toward the 23rd. That would be Monday the 23rd. So we have another fairly nice weekend up and down the East Coast. A little bit of a squeeze with this upper level system pushing in. And of course, much more active weather up in parts of Alaska, of course, the Arctic region, and the Pacific's getting into much more active weather at this point in time. But I'm also going to take you into the following week, as we can go out quite far here. Take it with a grain of salt, but it's worthy to note that another building area of higher pressure will push on in. We're talking basically on the 27th of September, the end of the month. And the way things are looking right now, we might see some kind of tropical weather. It's take it with a grain of salt here, but it could be some sort of a tropical storm or hurricane that will cut across Florida or generally in the southeast United States. We're going pretty far along and far out here at this point in time. And so we could see an area of low pressure try to track up the coast in tropical form. We'll have to wait and see about that. Take it with a grain of salt. But the weather pattern eventually does get a little bit colder across Canada, as you might expect, as we head toward the 1st of October. Looking at precipitation, European ensemble on the left-hand side with a European AI version on the right. Again, solid high pressure. The system tries to rotate in. We have one little break that's coming in basically the end of the middle to end part of this coming week, next Thursday or so. That kind of rotates in and things kind of begin to build back from the north and east. And indeed, we have another 1029 hectopascal area of higher pressure at surface. I'm going to focus on the European AI from here on out. And what we can see is that area of higher pressure once again. But watch this little disturbance in the lower Caribbean basin that's going to cut across Cuba and then eventually into Florida and then off the southeast U.S. coast, developing into something that is tropical. But at that point in time, high pressure builds up and down the eastern seaboard, at least north of about the Outer Banks of North Carolina. So another shot of decent weather, provided this works on out. This is a little bit more vigorous. This is the last toward the end here. And we're talking way out there toward the very end of September. This is a significant cold front that's going to be pushing in. And we got colder air that's going to try to make it cold enough that if temperatures kind of on the margins there, but if we had some mountain ranges here, we'd probably see a little bit of snow with these colder temperatures aloft. So this tries to move in behind that frontal boundary. And at that point in time, you know, things are going to start to go back and forth, and we're going to see a lot more oscillations in our temperature pattern. But that's not until around the 1st of October. Enjoy the rest of September. A little bit of business, but overall, things are looking pretty good. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights. Thanks for watching.